people don't all walk around looking depressed, and I'm going to share the picture of myself now. Look at that big cheesy grin. Come on now, does that look like somebody that's depressed and about to kill themselves? No, it doesn't. Are stigmas and myths still surrounding depression and mental health? Why, of course they are, so let's go.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
So this subject is really close to my heart because I was diagnosed with clinical depression at the age of 16, and I think it's really important that we have these conversations so people can see people like myself talking about it, know that it is normal, and it actually it affects 1 in 6 people, and that's globally. So just think about your local neighbourhood. That's 1 in every 6 person that depression or some kind of mental illness affects. Okay, so the first myth, and this is crazy, is that depression is the common cold of mental illness. Aha! So that's why the normal people stay away from us, because they're afraid they're going to catch crazy. Is that it? No, it's not, because you know what, as I just explained there, it is so common, and it's really important for us to speak about it and know that it is important for us to come forward and speak about our own experiences surrounding depression. Which brings me on to my second myth. Depression means you're weak and you're crazy. Now I'm just going to name off a few names, and this will sum up this myth straight away. Albert Einstein, Theodore Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, myself. These are just some of the people that had to deal with depression. So I think that sums up weak-minded and crazy. One of the greatest minds of all time, Albert Einstein, suffered with depression. So that blows that one straight out of the water. So the next myth is that depression affects everybody in the same way. No, it doesn't, because depression has many faces. In fact, depression doesn't care who you are, where you're from, what your social status is. It can and will affect anybody, and it doesn't have to be a certain event that happened in your life. It comes over a certain period of time. In fact, it's classed as once you have these symptoms for more than 6 months, then absolutely you have depression, but you should seek help way before then. And particularly now that we're in a time where we are immersed in self-care and self-help, you would think that these myths would not still exist, but unfortunately they do. Which brings me on to my next myth. Depression is just extreme sadness. Okay, so going from my own experience, and I think this is really important as well because we're heading into Christmas, and I don't know if you've ever heard of SAD, SAD, which is seasonal added depression, which means that we tend to feel it within our own mental health, that the evenings are darker, the mornings are dark. We feel like we're going to work and we're coming home and it's dark all of the time, and that obviously adds to our mental health because we're not getting the sunshine that we definitely need. And also, as I said, it happens over a period of time. It's not a feeling of sadness. It's overwhelming, deep despair, sometimes suicidal. Which brings me on to my next myth. And that is that depression affects women and the elderly. This might have to do with the fact that men find it difficult to come forward and talk about it, but I'm just going to bring up another 2 great names, and that is Tyson Fury and Frank Bruno, 2 boxers. Now, if you know me, you know that I love boxing, and this brought mainstream media toward depression. And Tyson Fury speaks perfectly about depression and normalizing it, because it's only when we normalize these conversations do we stop these stigmas and do we stop these myths. And I'm going to share exactly how at the end of the video. And I'm also going to share in this next myth, antidepressants and medication is all you need. Okay, so antidepressants do help for a lot of people, but it's important to stay on them for a short period of time. And like anything, depression is an illness, and with any illness we recover. Okay, so we have to work that recovery as we do with addiction, as we do with any kind of illness. And sometimes mental illness is looked down upon as not being an illness, but it absolutely is. Now, there are so many different treatments out there also that you can bring in, as well as your antidepressants, if that's the route that you do want to go down. And, you know, meditation and mindfulness, keeping yourself in the present moment, expanding your friend circle, your life experiences. That's how I got out of my depression circle, was to catch it before get really, really, really comfortable and knowing of your dark side, because then you know when a dark hole is coming up for you and you're able to catch it before you go down it. And I think that's really vital. So the next myth that we are going to break down is simply that positive thoughts do not help. This drives me nuts, especially as a spiritual teacher and somebody who practices things like emotional freedom tapping, EMDR, meditation, mindfulness. This drives me absolutely nuts, because this is exactly what helped me. Because when we have that negative self-talk and we are talking to ourselves in a way that's so self-deprecating, and we are giving ourselves this, you're an idiot, what did you do that for? And you're constantly putting yourself down, and this adds to the symptoms of depression. So it's really important that you change up those thoughts to ones of self-loving ones, and really getting to know, as I said, your dark side, knowing when you're going down a hole, catching it, and also, of course, the brighter side, knowing that there is hope. So I promised that I would share what you can do. Now, if you have depression, to break these stigmas, share this video, share your story, do whatever it takes to get these stigmas and myths out of the way, and know that asking for help is empowering. And if you do not have depression, also be an ally and share this video, because as I said, 1 in 6 people suffer from some kind of mental illness, and it is vital that we get it sorted now before it goes any further. So that's all from me this week. Take care.
Thank you for watching and normalizing mental health and depression.